Oh my God, you guys, come in, sit down, and shut the door. Gina Hung might have gotten Diddy in even more trouble, and she might even have gotten herself jammed up with some charges. Y'all sit down, we gotta talk about this. Listen, if you guys don't know, Gina Hun did two things today. Well, three. One, she exposed herself to be the biggest dum-dum in history. Second of all, she outed herself as victim number 3. Okay? And on top of that, she literally wrote an impassioned letter to the judge saying her man, her man, her man. However, we all know that Gina is already on the Khloe Kardashian time. She will clock in and put on that clown nose and dance for a couple of dollars. We hope it's a couple dollars. She might have been dancing just because. All right. But the thing is, legal insiders are saying Gina is playing a dangerous game,
and
she
no
doesn't
longer has a
realize that
voice who
Sean
will
Diddy
pursue
Combs just
justice
walked
for
her
her
down the path
accusation.
that could have her sitting in jail
As of the
next to
taken
him.
against
Because
Diddy,
at the end of the day,
no
Diddy is a
expansion of the
desperate
investigation,
man, and he really
no
doesn't
isolation
care.
orders,
Okay, now listen.
no equipment
This is what my
access,
sources are
no
telling me.
suspension of
Let me
attorney
know what
communication.
you think. Okay, now here's the thing. People are saying that Gina is playing a dangerous game because she could get charged with Section 18 USC 1512 witness tampering. They said that she could actually get charged with not only witness tampering, but making false statements to the government and obstruction of justice. And baby, these crimes, if the government can prove it, carry heavy penalties. Witness tampering, depending on the severity, up to 20 years, up to 10 years, or up to 5 years for attempting to persuade a witness to lie, withhold testimony, or not appear. Get this. If feds believe that Gina was bribed, manipulated, or knowingly submitted false statements or testimony, she could face up to 10 years, especially if it was part of a coordinated effort to obstruct justice. Oh, it's more false statements to the government? Okay. If Gina's letter contains knowingly false information, submit it to the court. Prosecutors could charge her with making a false statement in an official matter that is up to 5 years in prison plus fines. This includes written statements like letters to the judge, especially if called as part of a bail motion, and also obstruction of justice. This covers a broader act of interfering with the due administration of justice, including lying in official proceedings, influencing witnesses, and attempting to corrupt the judicial process that carries up to 10 years in jail. So baby, so what's the bottom line, right? If the feds believe that Gina lied in her letter to the court, was financially influenced to submit it, and or failed to cooperate with a subpoenaed appearance, then she could absolutely be indicted for witness tampering, obstruction, or false statement, and face up to 5 to 10 years in prison depending on the charge. And remember, and this is the big thing that people need to remember, and this is what Diddy might not have counted on. The bigger risk is for Diddy. If they can prove that he was the source of pressure or payment, then he gets hit with obstruction, witness tampering, and maybe new charges, especially if Gina gets immunity to testify against him. You guys, I do not think that Diddy thought that letter was going to turn out the way it did. Now, let's actually sink down deeper into it because it needs to be talked about. Now, you guys need to remember Gina was listed as victim number 3, but she refused to testify. She was the one named. She gave testimony in front of a grand jury. She gave testimony in front of the netizens on Tasha K when she outlined his brutality. Okay, but she was not called as a witness in the federal case. She refused to testify. She disappeared during key moments. She popped out to do a poll at TMZ when she was supposed to be missing, talking about, I don't think he's a danger, and it's rumored she's been financially supported by Diddy, rent, legal fees, and all that message, all that other stuff, right? Now you remember this happened during the trial. Again, let me break it down. She was one of the main witnesses in the case. They would call her material witness. She was named as a victim, and she was subpoenaed to come in, and suddenly she reappeared with a glowing letter of support. Again, this isn't just a character reference. This is somebody we would say a strategic piece of evidence designed to directly undermine the prosecution's theory of danger to victims. The problem is, Gina was one of the alleged victims. Prosecutors have previously suggested Diddy may have threatened, bribed, or intimidated. So now that she suddenly re-emerged on Diddy's side, it creates a perception of witness tampering, even if it's subtle or unspoken. That's the first thing that Diddy got a problem with. Okay. Now people have been saying, yo, Diddy got to her. She disappeared when they needed her and came back when he could help him. And this is witness tampering pure as day. They're even saying if she wasn't paid off, this looks horrible. Again, a woman who ghosted the federal government just pops up with a signed letter for the guy she said not just hurt her but tried to stomp a bee out of her. And we're supposed to believe this again. That he don't care, he don't got nothing to lose. But the fact that Gina got walked, well, who knows? She might have did this on her own. She either got walked into this or she knowingly wanted to make a fool of herself with this. Again, this does not look good for Diddy because it's going to backfire. I know they thought this letter was meant to help, And I think Diddy's desperate
present,
now that Trump
and
said
no
he ain't
longer
letting
has
him
a
out at all.
voice who
But
will
if you put
pursue
it into
justice for her
context,
accusation.
my sources say it confirms what
As
the
of the taken
prosecution
against
had
Diddy,
already warned the
no
judge
expansion
about,
of
that
the
Diddy has power,
investigation,
influence,
no
and financial
isolation
reach to
orders,
silence or
no
sway his
equipment
accusers
access,
through fear, money,
no
or
suspension of
manipulation.
attorney
The feds can
communication.
easily go up there and be like, "See, Judge Aaron, this is exactly what we meant. We said he was tampering with witnesses. Look what happened with victim number 3." And again, even if Diddy can make the argument that this letter is technically legal, it could function as proof of the main problem. The defense is saying, look, Gina says he's not in danger. Even though Gina said a lot of stuff, ain't nobody coming to hear you sing notice. But the prosecution can now definitively say, in your honor, we just watched them in real time neutralize another victim. That's the danger. Again, some people are saying that the feds can go after Gina, but they gotta be careful about it, because the way they could get her is she is a material witness. Okay, she was a material witness. Now the material witness, this is again, I don't think Gina saw this coming, and I don't think Diddy. Everybody's talking about, oh my God, I hope they bring state charges up. I do hope they get him on state charges. But baby, by writing this letter, they might actually have Diddy on enough to get federal charges. And now that Trump has signaled he don't care, you wasn't on the winning team. No. Now that Trump has literally said to Diddy that he is on his own, I mean, who's going to stop? Now again, let's get back to Gina being a material witness under 18 U.S.C. Section 30. A material witness is someone whose testimony is essential to the case or unlikely to appear voluntarily. Now we all know that Gina was not only essential to the case, she was named as one of the victims. And I do honestly believe that if Gina had bridged the gap, I think they would have gotten him on this Smex trafficking. I really do. But a fool and his dummy are never parted. If both were true, and I believe they are, the court can issue a material witness warrant. Again, that would be to detain or compel testimony. Okay. However, being listed as victim number 3 in the indictment, that was already enough. Think about it. The prosecution meant to call Gina and made a case where her testimony was critical, and Gina still refused to appear, disappeared, and otherwise avoided cooperation. Okay. Again, Gina was explicitly identified in finance as a victim. She not only was referenced, but she testified before the grand jury. She was expected to testify. She refused to appear and then disappeared. Her lawyer even disappeared, the lawyer Diddy was paying for, and now she suddenly reappeared to write a letter. Baby, this is textbook setup for material witness issue. Again, she was subpoenaed, her absence weakened their case, and she had material info about the charge, the violence, the coercion, the past abuse. They can, and my sources say they may argue that since she was a material witness who evaded appearance, they could pursue obstruction or witness tampering charges depending on what they actually have proof happened behind the scenes. You guys, this is a strategic problem for Diddy. Even if there is no money trail to Gina or one that they can prove yet, her letter contradicts early accusations, undermines the prosecution, and confirms that what they warned the court about, the influence over victim. If they believe Gina was paid, pressure, or coaxed into silence, her reappearance may backfire hard and trigger a reopening of obstruction or tampering investigations with Diddy, or a motion to disregard her letter as tainted, or even a grand jury scrutiny of her and Diddy's financial relation. Again, you guys, this is bad for Diddy, and I can't believe that they even tried to do that. Again, people make legal,
As of the
and there's
taken
also a
against
moral
Diddy,
argument.
no
People aren't
expansion of the
actually paying
investigation,
into. Okay, Gina
no
is
isolation
saying,
orders,
I don't think he's
no
an issue.
equipment
Baby,
access,
a victim's
no
forgiveness
suspension
does
of
not
attorney
erase Diddy's
communication.
danger to the general society. Nobody cares if you don't care about getting drop kicked in the face, Gina. Diddy can't be drop kicking women in the case. Oh well, right. This is not Gina versus Sean Combs. It was America versus Sean Combs. Because what's on trial wasn't just what he did to her, it's what he represents. A system where power and money let men brutalize women and walk away clean. Even if Gina forgave him, you guys, it wouldn't be an argument. We don't legalize abuse just because someone's learned to live with it. Gina's writing this letter isn't proof Diddy's not dangerous. It's proof his reach reaches further than we thought. And you don't get to drop kick someone in the mouth and then have them apologize for bleeding. Gina may be okay with it now, but what message does it send to the next girl? This case was never, and it's no longer about whether Gina feels safe, it's about whether any of us should feel safe in a world where power by silence, where abuse gets phrased as framed as misunderstood love, a modern love story, and where influence becomes immunity. Baby, listen, Gina's a dummy for doing this, but again, I think she's doing it because she wants to do it. And again, people can say Gina's a victim, and I truly do believe that Gina might be the victim. But at a certain point, when the victim sides with the devil, baby, you're the ops and we gotta treat you as such. Listen, let me know what you think in the comments, but my sources are saying that Diddy might have overplayed his hand. He's so desperate to get out of jail. Again, false statements to the government, obstruction of justice, witness tampering. Again, if the feds believe that she lied in her letter, was financially influenced to submit it, and failed to cooperate with a subpoenaed appearance, she could be indicted. She could be facing 5 to 10 years, and they might need to do that as proof. They might need to do that as proof to everybody else that you can't play in the federal government's face, okay? And again, this is a bigger risk for Diddy. If they can prove he was a source of pressure or payment, then he gets hit with obstruction, witness tampering, and maybe even new charges. Even if Gina gets immunity to testify against them, y'all, the plot is thickening. The plot is thickening. It looks like that not being pardoned by Trump got Diddy spiraling and getting sloppy. And baby, we love to see it. Oh, I'm praying the feds bring more charges against them. If not, California, New York, Miami, you know what needs to be done. Anyway, y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you later.